Stewart Show coming to you live. Yes. The great Three Stooges. Yes. This is the Doug Stewart Show coming to you live Tuesday, September 23rd, 2014. And oh boy, Geno. The New York Jets taking on the chin last night. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about everything from the Monday Night Football game last night between the Jets and the Chicago Bears. We got a Trivia Tuesday, so you call up here. I'll ask you a trivia question. I'll give you some little-known sports facts all throughout today's show. The show does go from 11 p.m. Eastern Time to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you tell everybody. I mean, everybody you know, your mama them, your cousin them, all of them. Tell them all about the Doug Stewart Show, the livest, the most fun sports talk show in America. Hit me up, 404-382-0338. I want to hear from some Bears fans out there. If you're a Bear fan, if you're a Jets fan, talk about your team. Talk about the Jets and the fact that they just can't get it right. Geno Smith, is he the guy that's going to be your leader for the next 10 years? You drafted him high enough, so you believe that he is going to be. So we're going to get into all of that. A lot of stories in the NFL. Steve Bisciotti, the owner of the Baltimore Ravens, is in the news. James Harrison is in the news. We're going to talk about what he's got going on a little bit later as well. But once again, the number is 404-382-0338. You can also text me at 770-847-0536. And the Doug Stewart Show, Doug at thedougstewartshow.com is where you can email me. All right. Need sponsors. I didn't mention this enough yesterday. My producer said, you got to make sure and tell them that we're looking for sponsors and people to partner with on the show to help promote their company, their brand, or whatever. And this is the place to do it. So email me if you're a company and you want some great sponsorship from a company that's right dead off the ground and coming out real hard and is going to do everything it can to promote your brand or your product, all right? And also, don't forget, tell your friends, tell everybody you know that you can listen to the show on thedougstewartshow.com as well as go to Spreaker. And Spreaker is Spreaker.com. And when you get on Spreaker.com, just search The Doug Stewart Show and it'll pop up. So there's a lot of ways to listen, not only on those websites, but also there's a Spreaker mobile app. So just download the Spreaker mobile app and just keep it real simple. If you're in your car, if you're riding around, you can just listen to the app. You don't have to log on to the internet or anything like that. And you can listen to the show and join in on all the fun. Now, today is a Trivia Tuesday. And if you old school Two Live Stews, you know what we used to do this back in the day where you give us a call, talk about what you wanted to talk about in the world of sports, and you could, get a chance to answer a sports trivia question. And today we're talking all NFL, so we'll ask you an NFL trivia question. Not too hard. I looked at some of the questions, not too hard, but we'll see what kind of sports trivia knowledge you have. As well as I'll be giving you out little-known facts in the world of sports, things that you probably had no idea about. I looked at some of these as well, and I had no idea about some of these things as well. Did you know that there has never been a documented perfect March Madness bracket? That's right. Never. Not only has there never, ever been a perfect March Madness bracket, the chances of it ever happening in the history of the world are like little to none. You got a 1 in 9.2 quintillion chance of filling out a perfect bracket. That's why it's always funny to me, and you are listening to the Doug Stewart Show. That's why it's always funny to me when I hear somebody doing March Madness say, well, I filled out 20 brackets, and I just changed this, and I changed one team here, and I took one team out there. That's not going to work, player. It's not going to work, okay? Quintillion? What the hell is a quintillion? Like, how many commas is in a quintillion? Because they didn't even write quintillion out in front of me. They didn't even show the actual numerical number. They actually just wrote out 9.2 quintillion. What the hell is a quintillion? So you got no shot, Mr. March Madness bracket guy, of getting this thing right. You just don't. The chances of you getting it right are like slim to zero. Not even slim. It's 0. 9.2 quintillion is not going to happen. You best believe that. All right, the number is 404-382-0338. 404-382-0338. As I mentioned, Jay Cutler threw 2 touchdown passes to Martellus Bennett, and Ryan Monday returned an interception for 45 yards for a score. And Cutler finished 23 of 38 for 225 yards, and Alshon Jeffrey caught 8 passes for 105 yards for the Bears, who got a 45-yard field goal from Robbie Gould to make it an 8-point game with 3 minutes and 10 seconds remaining. And the Jets had the last opportunity, but Geno Smith threw another one of them touchdowns. So another one of those interceptions. Jeremy Curley actually made the catch, but he was out of bounds. So that was how the game ended up last night between the Bears and the Jets. And right now, I have to think that the Bears are probably a team that's going to be reckoned with when you come to postseason, because they really haven't played that great. They're 2-1 right now. They really haven't started hitting on all cylinders yet, but they still find a way to win that game last night. So that's a very good sign. 27-19, Geno Smith was 26 for 13, 316 yards. Decker got hurt, and that's another problem with the Jets when you jump back to the Jets, is the Jets really don't have any weapons. Their big free agent that they brought in here this summer was Eric Decker, and he gets hurt last night with a hamstring injury. So the Bears, the Jets, are a team that really had an opportunity, people thought, to turn the corner. Rex Ryan kept talking all year long about how Geno Smith has made all these improvements, and he's a better quarterback than what he was last year. And you're going to get better. The question when you talk about the Jets, and Geno Smith in particular, he threw 2 interceptions last night, 1 touchdown, 26 for 43, 316. The question about Geno Smith is this guy a franchise quarterback? Are you going to give him the opportunity to correct his mistakes? Are you going to give him an opportunity to get better as a player? That's what a lot of times in this day and time of the NFL, you don't see that happen. And the reason is because you've seen these quarterbacks come in and have pretty much instant success. You saw it with Andrew Luck. Not that he won the Super Bowl, but Andrew Luck came in and did fantastic things. Fantastic things for the Indianapolis Colts when he first got into the league. Russell Wilson, you know his story. I mean, the guy won a Super Bowl. So when you talk about these young quarterbacks, they're learning more finesse systems, bigger systems in college, in high school. They're throwing more passes, the very intricate things that they do on Saturdays and on Friday nights. So all that's translating, and then you add into the equation that in the NFL, it's becoming a pass-happy league. The league's defenses don't have the opportunities to bump and run. You can't hit a guy really anymore. You can't touch a guy pretty much anymore. So the game's being built around offense. The game is 100% being built around offense. And I think that sells tickets. But once again, I don't know if it necessarily wins you championships. If you have both, like the Seattle Seahawks did last year, now you're cooking with Crisco, okay? Geno Smith is 9% under duress. I don't know where they come up with these facts. Basically, when they got somebody in his face, when he has a real staunch pass rush, the dude is completing 9% of his passes, which is not good at all. I mean, it's absolutely horrible. So he's got to work on a lot of things. And I think that, and the question is, do you stick with him or do you bring in Michael Vick? I think you give him a little bit more opportunity. I think you give him probably another 5-6 games. It seems like he's making some strides. He's actually won 5 games from behind. They threw out that stat from last year. So he has some capabilities. He has, he made some great passes last night. He has those intangibles you think that could make him a good quarterback. But man, when you do your best Tony Romo impersonation, you have to wonder. You start to hesitate. Like, is this guy the real thing? And if you're Rex Ryan, you're probably fighting for your job right now. So I don't know how much rope you want to give Geno to hang himself. I think you give him a couple more games, though. I really do. And I think the Jets made the investment in bringing him in. Clearly, Michael Vick is a better player right now, but not for the future. So they started Geno this year. It probably wasn't really even a quarterback competition this summer. So we got to see what Geno can do in the long term. Give him a couple more games and see what he can do. On the other side, Jay Cutler, Alshon Jeffries, Brandon Marshall. I talked yesterday a little bit about some of the best wide receiving cores in the NFL, and I forgot to include these guys. I talked about Stevie Johnson and Anquan Bolden and those guys out in San Francisco, Crabtree. You got to include these guys too. You just talk about big physical targets. And a lot of times guys are big, but they aren't physical and they can't catch. Or they don't have all three possessions in their game. And Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffries, just great targets. Then when you throw in Martellus Bennett, another huge target. Jay Cutler with one of the strongest arms in the league. That's a team that they're going to threaten this year, going down deep into the playoffs. They are definitely going to threaten. They got that Bears defense. It seems like to me, there's a couple of teams, and you tell me if I'm wrong, there's a couple of teams that have a swagger about them that says defense. And the Bears, historically, I don't know, it's because of the 85 Bears, the Monster of the Midway, all of the great players they had at linebacker, most notably Butkus, or the tough players like Ditka, and all of the guys from the 85 team, like I just mentioned. But the Bears are aggressive. It seems like there's a culture of aggressiveness with that franchise. And I tell you what, they got a real tough defense. The Pittsburgh Steelers got a real tough defense. The Baltimore Ravens, Ozzie Newsome has installed that toughness in that organization as well. So the Bears have always had one of these tough, grinded out defenses, some years better than others. So they'll have that going down the stretch as well. The question is can they produce when the time is here? And Jay Cutler and a lot of criticism about him. He's not really a team guy. He's a guy that is aloof, and not a lot of people are really respecting him. And he does have that kind of quirkiness about him that kind of makes you wonder, like, what kind of dude is this? You know? So we'll see what happens with the Bears. But a good Monday night game. What I'm going to do a little bit later is I'm going to break down in probably 2 minutes each and every game from week 3. Give some thoughts on it. Want to get your thoughts on it. What's up with your team? How's your team looking right now? Give me an assessment of your team. I don't care where you are. If you're in Houston and you want to talk about the Texans, give us a call. Especially if you're right here in the ATL. I want to hear your thoughts on the Atlanta Falcons. If you're in New York, what about the Jets? The Jets right now are sucking wind. They're struggling early. And a lot of people kind of predicted this thing about the Giants were going to struggle this year. And it looks like it's coming to fruition. So Tampa Bay, I mean, they ass whooped the other day. And I mean a royal ass whooping by the Atlanta Falcons. So let's get into all of that NFL talk. This show is really predominantly season driven. In the NFL season, we're going to talk a lot of NFL. We're going to talk a lot of college football, as well as in basketball season, we'll talk more NBA. But we're going to pretty much talk football all year round because that's what the people want to talk about. That's clearly what the people want to talk about. And we are going to give the people what they want on this show. You better believe that. That's what we're going to do. All right, the number is 404-382-0338. We think we got the phone system worked out. We thought we had it worked out before yesterday, but we had some little gremlins, and we addressed it. So I think if you give us a call, man, we'll be good to go, and we'll get some of your passionate sports conversation, as well as ask you some trivia questions. Got some great trivia questions here. We got great prizes for people that can answer the trivia questions correctly, and that's how we're going to do it. All right? Yeah. Twitter. I'm also on Twitter. Make sure you check me out on Twitter and on Instagram, The Doug Stewart Show, all one word. That's how you check your boy out on Twitter. I really need you. We had some fantastic numbers on yesterday. I got to mention that. We had some fantastic numbers yesterday for the first day. So continue to pass the word. I don't need you to tell one person. We used to tell everybody, just tell one person. Telling one person is great. I'm not saying don't tell one person, but do me a favor and tell two. Tell two people. And we are going to make this the biggest sports talk show in America, the number one online sports talk show in America. You best believe that. That's what we're going to do. We are claiming it right now. The number one sports talk show in America. Doug Stewart, The Doug Stewart Show. Not two live stews. Two live stews are fantastic. But one of the stews is retired, and he's a soccer dad. That's word to my mother. He's a